Good evening, sisters of NAWBO, and those of you that are joining us to learn all about our guest today. And let's not waste any time, and we will bring her in right now. And it is Nakiea Cook, and she is the owner of NC Accounting and Consulting. Nakiea, you are one of our newest NAWBO sisters. The biggest warm welcome to NAWBO. So happy to have you join us this evening.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And Nakiea is one of several ladies of color that we are bringing on during this month in celebration of Black History Month. And we are so happy and honored that you can join us this evening. And, you know, with every guest that we have on, so for those of you who are this is your first time joining us, every Monday, we have Monday Member Spotlight, and we put the spotlight on one of our NAWBO sisters so you can get to know them just a little bit more. Who are they? You know, in months and years past, you may have sat across the table from Nakiea or even myself, and you don't know, you know that I'm a woman in business and that Nakiea is a woman in business, but you don't know what we do. What is our business? What is our expertise? And that's the purpose of Monday Member Spotlight. And today we're focusing on Nakiea. And Nakiea, as I'm doing my homework on you, darn lady, you do a lot of stuff for a lot of people. And you do accounting and bookkeeping, and you know what? And I'm going to let you take over and kind of give people an idea of what else you do, all the other services you provide.
Yes, well, I do, and I enjoy it, honestly. Finance is my thing. Accounting is my jam. And I do, like you said, all things accounting. Actually, financial literacy is where it starts up. So me basically explaining individuals' financials, and then on the corporate level, providing those advisory services for, you know, the accounting side with the bookkeeping. I do some payroll within my business, and just making sure that individuals understand their cash flow, where their money is going, why it's going there, and how to sustain within their business. I think that's extremely important. So understanding the background of that, that's why I call myself the unconventional accountant, because you're not going to see me around doing the normal, regular stuff. I like to educate and make sure that individuals understand what's going on within their business. And as you know, Paula, sometimes I get excited or I talk, I like to shimmy. So, you know, that's just me. And that's just how I work.
I know, girl, we like to dance when we get to going. Yes. Yeah, we do it. And that makes life all the more fun when you add a little dance to it all. What inspired you? Because honestly, that's a lot of math. What I'm hearing is when you're talking about that you're educating and you're not just helping people with their bookkeeping and their accounting, because that's extremely important. Mm-hmm. That is, you know, that is part of the puzzle of creating a successful business. But I hear what you're saying about educating and connecting with others and making sure that they understand the scope of what you're doing, you know, not just for themselves, but for the whole community, right?
Exactly. And I love doing that because I also adjunct. So I teach accounting too, intro to accounting and business finance. So I actually, you know, I take that as I'm educating the students, and then I just bring it on home with my business, because I think it's so important for people to know where their money is going. And I also provide tax services for business and personal. I do limit. I know I do a lot of, you know, things, but it's all under the same umbrella. And I limit to who, you know, and whom I let come in. But then also within my business, I just work with, you know, corporations and nonprofits to provide the educational piece. And then, you know, if they need some of their clients to do the work, then I go in and I help those clients, whether it's setting up QuickBooks or understanding tax preparation needs, or even I'm certified, as you had Ms. Curry on, you know, last week. I'm certified for the MWBE in New York State, and I have the opportunity to be certified in New York City as well. So just taking all those opportunities and just giving back to my community and making sure they understand these opportunities are there for them, and for them to understand their finances and how that comes into play with everything they do, personal and within their business.
I'm thinking about you teaching and making sure that your students are engaged. I've taught some public speaking classes too. I know how kids are. I know how students are. I shouldn't say kids, I should say students. And it's hard sometimes to engage your class, your
Yes.
students. What do you think is key for you? A key, a tool or element, or maybe it's just your style of teaching that really connects you with your students and helps them understand the importance of the class.
I'm extremely authentic. I'm just me. I will talk to you about my personal failures first and foremost, and then go into how I have came about and came out of them, and with student loans still going through them. So I think with my students, which I, then transfer onto my business, is just being extremely transparent and authentic in everything that I do. I don't mind answering the hard, tough questions, I guess, are what they seem to be for most people, because I feel that those tough or difficult questions are the ones that really help individuals get past their, the financial mindset. Sometimes I call it the mindset trap of not being able to make more money or succeed within their business. And that all drills down to the financial literacy aspect. So I think just being authentic and transparent with my students helps me with people in general.
So, and I totally agree with you, because when you share like those personal stories, it's very much like when you're doing business, right? When you share those personal stories, people connect to you. They understand it. It's almost like the light bulb, like the light switch is flicked on and they're like, oh, I get it now, right?
Right, right.
So I'm sure the way that you have taught this past semester and has changed considerably. It's a pandemic. Just for those of you who don't know, we're in the middle of a pandemic. So teaching has changed. I'm going to ask you to touch on that. And I'm also going to ask you to touch on how your business has changed in wake of the pandemic. So have more people been coming to you maybe because they're starting a new business? There seems to be a very big upswing in the number of people that are starting new businesses. Is that true? Do you see that?
Yes, I see that. And excuse me, to be even more, I told you I'm going to give you the raw. I'm real transparent, open. It's more
Bring it on. Come
businesses.
on.
It's more businesses who don't have their books in order, and they don't understand the reason why they were ineligible to receive the PPP, loans or the IDO loans. So they're like, wait a minute, I'm running a business for maybe 10 years plus, but I don't have my back office isn't right. I don't have an accounting system in place. Excuse me. So it's just me explaining that, like, the importance of having an accountant or a bookkeeper or someone to assist you. Your advisory board, like everyone should have one within their business. And even with that shift of, like you mentioned, with teaching and going in and everything going to the virtual mode and teaching via, WebEx or Zoom, it's the same thing within the business, having to, shift and having to work within that shift to make sure that you're giving as well as students and your clients what they need. So I think I've seen a huge, shift with businesses as a whole, them now wanting to go in and get their books in order, making sure they're, I don't want to say legit or legal now in terms of not using the shoebox method with receipts and things of that nature. So I did see a huge shift. And then that shift with students now having to adapt to online learning, as well as businesses having to adapt to going online as well. So it's been a shift during this pandemic.
I think you said something extremely important, and that is that there are a lot of business owners out there that have applied for those loans and they didn't get them, and they were asking for that assistance and they didn't get it, and they very frustrated, could not understand why. And the fact that they think they have their books in order, but they're really not. Right.
Right. Right. And I think that, it goes down to is the importance of why. Because a lot of people, you have a business and you tend to work on your business, but not in your business. And that can be difficult because I tell people that marketing is not my thing. I didn't go to school for that. Accounting, the numbers is for me. So I'm not on social media, all the time. And, I know my presence should be there, but my gift is accounting, and it's finances, it's auditing, it's tax. I know that sounds, when I say that and I get excited, it sounds like so weird, but that's where it is for me. And I think that when you understand and you start to realize that, working in my business consists of all those pieces, it comes together. But I have learned that whatever you don't know, you have to hire out. At this point, you do. And it is best for you to do so because you don't know what you don't know. And that's with everything.
So true, so true. So for those of you that are just jumping on, I am Paula Damico. I don't even think I introduced myself. I'm Paula Damico, the chapter of the Buffalo-Niagara NAWBO chapter, and Nakiea Cook is our guest this evening. And we are doing our Monday member spotlight, and this is where we're putting the spotlight on one of our NAWBO sisters. We call them NAWBO sisters. And we're putting a spotlight on Nakiea this week, and we're putting a spotlight on her business as well. And Nakiea, we're going to pivot just a little bit, and we're going to talk a little bit more about you and your business. And being a woman in business. Let's talk about that. Challenges, maybe big victories. What can you share a little bit with us?
I have to say now the challenges, it's an extreme challenge being a woman in business, let alone obviously being a Black woman in business, and especially in the financial field, where I have seen it being more open to women. But when I go into these rooms, it's predominantly white men. So me making sure that my voice is heard, that I do know what, I'm talking about, not just from my education, but just from experience also. I think that is really the difficult part. And it still is sometimes, but it's just being more strong in knowing and staying true to my convictions with whatever I say and not double backing. So I think that just being a woman and a woman of color in the financial industry is a little challenging, but it's nothing that, you can't get through or strive through. And sometimes the most difficult things are what brings you out to be the best you. So I think that I take those challenges head on. And when you know your stuff, and no one can take that from you. Like my father used to always tell me, knowledge is power, is key. So I know what I know and no one can take that from me. And in my most humble voice, but I think, just being a woman and a woman of color in those rooms, it speaks volumes also, but then again, you still have to push through a lot of barriers.
Mm-hmm. You know what? It seems to be a common thread, whether you are a woman in business or a woman in business and you're a woman of color, walking into a room where you are the only female, let alone a female of color, it can be daunting. But we all overcome it, right? We walk in, when you know your stuff, like you said, when you know your stuff, you know your stuff.
Right.
And it's so interesting how when you first walk in that room, how you're approached in one way, but by the time you walk out, wouldn't you say it's a whole different story? Because now
all the time
they put you to the test, right?
Right. Just asking questions or throwing, theory out. And I'm like, oh, I know about the Maslow law. I know about this. So, I can speak, with them. So I think that also goes to show too that, understanding, and then knowing that when you go into these rooms, that is primarily the case, that I am sometimes even the only woman, period, walking into those rooms, into the boardrooms or into meetings, even within my community. I can even go that deep to say, in certain areas within the city and going into meetings where, I'm trying to help my community, but then there's pushback from other communities because of, where they think my community should be, or the community I was raised in. So it's tons of pushback that I get all the time. I usually call the people gatekeepers because they like to keep what they have within their gates. of their organizations. And, you know, I always say that once we really sit down and we talk about and have that transparent moment of the needs of individuals, and I can speak about, you know, financially just in the communities, and giving that education, then I think we push through and we do a ton more great work. And then we look past those different, you know, I guess, you know, adversities or whatever biases or whatever the case it may be that people seem to have, you know, in certain rooms that I've been in. But I really think that once we get past those things, then we can see more like greatness within, for women and women of color, you know, any of those rooms out there. So yeah, it's 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 challenging to say the least sometimes.
I bet it's challenging. And I mean, when you're walking into that room, you have to know that when you're trying to do good for the community at some point, you have to know, Nakiea, that you are providing not just a service, but you're providing inspiration to those that you may not even see, or maybe in, you know, they've just walked in and they've walked out, or that they see a woman stepping up and stepping into the light and showing, you know, that they can do it just as good, if not better, than some of the gentlemen in our in our community as well. I'm being nice. So let's talk about networking a little bit, because I'm sure you've tapped into different organizations and you've done some networking, and we're so happy to have you with NAWBO. And you're new to the organization, so I know you came to dinner, and that was like, it seems like forever ago, and we'll be together again soon. Although we saw each other just recently, but we'll be together again, meaning NAWBO sisters, together again soon. What are you hoping? I don't know if I want to say hoping to achieve or to get out of being part of the organization, because everybody could have wishes, but maybe what are you thinking that this organization or the NAWBO sisters can do for you? How can you benefit from being a part of this organization, or any organization for that matter?
The support, I think, is the main, I guess not even goal, but what I've seen. I can even tell you even better what I've experienced with NAWBO, going to the dinner. And I can't remember her name, but I know she's in construction. And when I sat at the table, she's a part of NAWBO, and she's been, you know, in NAWBO, but and I always forget her name, but I have her picture in my head clear as day. And when we sat at the table and she came as her full self, and I was like, oh my God, I don't wear like shoes and heels and stuff all the time. You put me in a pair of Uggs and I'm fine. Like that's just what I like to do. And she's like, no, like I don't do that either. That's not me. Like, and she allowed me to come and sit and talk like within my full self. So I think just being authentic. NAWBO is just an authentic group of women that like to have fun. You can talk about your challenges in business. And we did at that table. Even one of the other dinners I went to, you can talk about your challenges in business, but still have fun and still know that someone is going through the same thing you're going through, or been through it, and can tell you, you know what, no, go this way, go that way. So shift. Make sure you get your shift together and work it out. So I think that the support and the networking with NAWBO for that. And I think once that happens, then I mean, of course, everyone, you know, wants customers or clients, but once you get in and you see that support there, it just comes naturally. So that's like more so at the back end, but I really like the support from the group.
That camaraderie, you know, we say it's a sisterhood, but it really is like that camaraderie and that feeling that you can call on anyone to ask them a question, and it's not just asking a question about the organization, but it's asking them a question about maybe the workings of any particular organizations that are here, and making a connection with some other organizations. That's also very important. And I love the fact that because we're such a fairly close-knit community within the community, that those referrals are just so important and so outstanding, especially like for you, Nakiea, when you're talking about accounting and bookkeeping. These are important parts of running a business. And let's go back to that for just a little bit. Do you have, I want to know if you can, and no names, you don't have to share any names. If you've had some, not my name, no. If you had somebody walk in and go, or call you and say, Nakiea, are you Nakiea Cook? I've heard a lot about you. I'm a mess and I need your help. Have you had that experience?
I get that all the time.
There we go. Okay.
I just had that today.
So, for example, say, and I'm not saying that I'm a mess by any means, but if I was, my hair's a mess, but I'm not a mess. If I was going to walk in and say that, or call you and say, I really need some help with my finances. I thought I had it together. I applied for a grant. I applied for PPE or something. I applied for something and I didn't get it. Can you help me? And what would be the first steps that you would be taking with your client?
Putting their mind at ease, like let them know that everyone goes through this, that it's business, it's life, and that as you're coming in, we'll get it figured out. We can figure it out. I can figure it out. So basically the first step is just easing the mind and knowing that it happens. Then we go in to see, not necessarily where an issue or concern may have started, but what are your concerns within business? It could be because you couldn't receive a loan. Okay, well, let's go back and let's look at your record keeping. Then they tell me, you know what, I don't have the best record keeping. So then I suggest some softwares or resources that can assist them with that. But then we backtrack. So a lot of people do have those notebooks or Excel sheets. So we just go through those and put them in systems. So it's the primary step, I think, with a lot of individuals that they don't like to get that nudge to go forth with any accountant, is that they're afraid. And there's no reason to be afraid, or they're embarrassed that their books may look a certain way, or they come off to the public as a certain way, but in the inside, behind the scenes in the back office, it doesn't. Everything is strictly confidential, and that your business is your business. So we want to make sure that you're being highlighted through your financials as well as your public figure with other individuals. So it's basically primarily keeping the mind at ease, and then going through the documents that they have and then putting them in place so it's easy, organized, and recognizable.
So let's go through again. What services do you offer?
So I do like I said, the financial literacy pieces. So I love doing workshops, and I have those coming out. But as far as bookkeeping, so I do the bookkeeping and tax preparation for individuals. And if you need payroll, then that could be added to a bookkeeping service. And bookkeeping is basically what that is that I'm making sure that your books are organized, that in case of an audit, that you have something to give the IRS, and that you are able to understand your financial statements and be able to just quickly understand what your overhead is, what that means in your cash flow within your business. So then it's easier for tax time as well. So when you need those loans, those grants coming out, then you have your records easily accessible to you to be able to apply for those things. And just to keep your mind at ease, to know that, you're going to sustain, you have a process in place for your business financially.
And how can people find you? Where do they go to? Do they call you, email you, find you on social media? Where do they find Nakiea Cook?
I am big on email, so team@ncacsolutions.com. My website is ncacsolutions.com. And Instagram, I'm not a good marketer, but I'm up there, is at NCAC Solutions as well. So I am here on those platforms, but email is where you'll primarily get a quicker response from me, especially now it's tax time.
Well, yeah, it's tax time. So are you losing your mind a little bit because it is tax time, or?
Yes, because the IRS now, the new laws and regulations, they come out so rapidly and fast, and some forms aren't even up yet, and the tax season just opened up on the 12th, so they pushed it back. So yeah, it's a lot of changes, obviously, within the government. So just keeping abreast of all those changes in the forms within softwares. So yeah, it'll be a process within, with the IRS and seeing what the federal government is going to do next.
So I'm assuming that there's quite a number of business owners that reach out to you to get their taxes done, right? In addition to, so is it commonplace for a client to tap into multiple services that you're offering?
Yes. And the great thing about it, as I mentioned earlier, is that I go through like those nonprofits or, companies that just hire me out to do the financial literacy piece. And then they bring on the clients that they know after, they vetted them out to make sure that they're serious about it. Because some people, they want it and they're not sure. But, and then I go in and then I assist them with the needs they need in particular. Because not everyone is ready for a bookkeeper or an accountant, and that's fine. But I still believe that you should have that educational piece behind it. So, at bare minimum, how to set up your books, or that the accounting formula, like, what your assets and liabilities are to your owner's equity. So understanding those pieces will get you way further than starting your business or being in your business and not having those tools and resources. And I have those also on my website. Whatever you need, I do have a learning center as well.
It is good to do that, right? Because one service complements the other, and you're familiar with your client. You can give them a very, I'm going to say, holistic type of a piece of advice, because you can, you have an idea of where they're coming from all different angles.
Yes.
Let's go back to, because you've said it several times, you've talked about financial literacy. And for those that are jumping in, or even have been with us for the past 20 some minutes, can you define financial literacy? What does that mean? What is that offering that you're putting out there?
To make sure you understand where your money is going and why it's going there. That's what financial literacy is to me. And you understand, credit, whether it's business or personal, you're understanding a budget. And I don't like to say budget because it sounds restrictive. So I say spending plan, because you're going to spend your money. We're just going to plan where you're going to spend it. What a savings look like, a savings that's giving you interest, purchasing a home. What does that look like? And with your finances. So we want to make sure that people are equipped with the necessary tools to get out there and just be financially you, like just be whatever that means to you, that you have that understanding of your money and where it's going and why it's going there.
That's great. So I'm sure everybody's like, oh, that's wonderful. Now I get it. Right. So on that note, you're giving all this advice. I would like to tap into what you're thinking about, what you would think about giving advice to other women in business that are out there. What's some advice that you feel that you could give, coming from a woman, not just in business, but a woman of color in business?
I would have to say to be optimistic, enthusiastic, and a realist when it comes to your business. And you don't have to be nice. You have to be fair and kind. It's a big difference. We say a lot of times, you play nice, but I think sometimes nice gets you, for lack of better words, a little ran over sometimes in field. So I say, make sure that you're fair and kind to individuals that come through, and just be open, honest, and just realistic about what it is you want to do within your business and within your space.
Excellent. That's so true. Being real. It's all about being real. And I know you're always real, Nakiea. You and I, we're real dancers.
There we go.
Actually, let's go, girl. I'm gonna dance a little bit. Dance a little bit on Facebook. I want to thank you so much for joining us this evening. We're wrapping things up. Ladies, I'm going to give Nakiea just a couple more seconds in just a moment, just to let you know, this is, we're doing a special series of Monday membership spotlights, because we are celebrating, we are marking of Black History Month. So Nakiea joined us this week. We're so incredibly happy that she joined us. We loved having you on, Nakiea, especially learning about all the accounting and the bookkeeping and how they go hand in hand. And oh yeah, she's laughing. She's like, "Oh, you're not." We really are, because it is not easy. And you know what? It's also really important when you make that connection with your community as well. So we thank you for that. We thank you for doing that financial literacy, because there's a lot of us that need financial literacy. I'm just saying for myself a little bit. I need a little help, probably. We should talk. Coming up in just a couple of minutes, ladies, if you're sticking with us, please stick with us. We're going to have Amy from Amy's Fine Jewelry. She is going to be joining us in just about 2 minutes. So please stay right here on Facebook. We're going to come back live again. And Nakiea, I want to thank you so much for joining us this evening. Thank you for sharing your advice and your information. And, you know, this is an amazing ladies that you can reach out to for that fiscal help, for that fiscal assistance, for that financial education, as well as that fiscal literacy. I'm saying it all wrong. Oh my gosh, it was a long day, but you understand. It's all about the numbers, and Nakiea can help you out. So thank you again, Nakiea. Everybody stay tuned. In just a few minutes, we are going to have Amy join us from Amy's Fine Jewelry, and you can find out all more about the sparkle that's going on in Williamsville.
Friday.
Do you got? Yeah, I know. I got. She's helped me out.
I got Friday from her.
See, look at that. NAWBO sisters, always connected. Thank you, Nakiea.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great evening, and thank you everybody for joining us. Stick around for our next interview.